Welcome to another edition of the Erie PD's Behind the Blue.
We're joined by a very special guest today. We're going to introduce her in just a second. But Erie PD has some very badass women that work for it. I don't think the community truly understands the important role that women are playing in law enforcement today. But Erie PD is really sort of a pioneer in not only the state of Colorado, but really nationally for the number of women that we have here at the PD.
That's right. I think at last count, they had 12 sworn officers out of 39.
Well, you're absolutely right, because I actually texted Chief Stewart
Okay.
and asked her, how many sworn female officers do we have?
You know, if my math's correct, that's around 30%. And that's pretty high compared to the national
My friend,
average.
you passed the math test because you were right on the number right there. So, but, you know, Erie PD has a goal. I mean, 30% is, as you said, 2.5 times what the national average is right now. And, you know, one of the highest in the state. But they really want to get to that about 50% mark, which I think would be fantastic.
I think it'd be wonderful.
So with that, we want to introduce our special guest today. We have with us Detective Shannon Crow. Shannon, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
How are you guys?
We're doing good so far.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things we kind of wanted to get to know you. You've been an SRO. You started off obviously in patrol. You were SRO. You're now a detective. But what got you into law enforcement as a female?
I come from a law enforcement family. So my father is a retired police officer. My brother is currently a police officer. My mom was a paramedic, so also public service family. Growing up, I understood law enforcement. I understood that it was a rewarding profession, but also very challenging, and sacrifices come with it as well.
Yes.
So.
As Chad pointed out, you've started off as a patrol officer and you were an SRO and now you're a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of those is substantially different. And I'd like to get your feelings as to what are your favorite things about those different positions?
As a patrol officer, I found that to be really fun and exciting. You get to go out, you get to engage with the community, you get to respond to a variety of different type of calls. You never know what type of call you're going to get next. You can get a barking dog call, and then next get a domestic violence call, and then from there maybe a burglary or a robbery in progress call. So that was always interesting. As an SRO, I found it rewarding to work with the youth. I have a background in counseling and working with youth. So I feel like you can really make a difference in that role, being in that SRO role. I'm really enjoying being a detective right now. I find it challenging. I enjoy being able to work a case from start to finish and seeing it at its conclusion, because we do have the opportunity to work a lot of our own cases being in a small department, but with this you really get to work as long as you need to on it, and to work with the victim and get justice for them.
That's a great point, though, because a lot of patrol officers don't necessarily get to see the finality of the case. I mean, obviously they sort of do at the end, right? Mm-hmm. But they're only involved up to a certain point, and then it's handed over to a detective who sort of takes it. I love that insight that you're bringing, that, you know, you get to see that case all the way through now, you know, from having been a patrol officer. So
yeah, and it's yours, you know, it's your baby. So you really invest in it and you care about it.
Another thing that interests me is now that there's more women on the police force at Erie, have you seen a change of culture or a change of attitudes amongst the people?
Well, I started in 2016, and at that time I felt there was a good amount of women. It's always been a very inclusive, diverse department, so that hasn't changed. Since we've grown, though, we have doubled our number of women officers, which is great. We also, the one thing I have noticed that has changed is we have a lot more women in training and instructor roles as well as leadership roles. So we have women driving instructor, we have women defense, tactics instructors, female firearms instructor as well as taser instructors. We also have a variety of field training officer roles for women. And I think that it's important to have a good balance of female and male trainers and leaders and instructors because males and females train differently. They have different experiences and strengths and weaknesses, and it's good to get both of those perspectives when in training.
Well, that's a great point. It's not just checking a box, right? Saying we have, this number of female officers to hit a quota or whatever, right? It's that Erie PD actually is putting females in positions not to check a box, but because they've earned that right to be in those positions, and they understand, Chief Kim Stewart, all the way down. They understand the importance that women have in, like you said, training and stuff, because there is a difference. And one of the things I'm kind of curious about is, I was in law enforcement, 20 plus years ago, and it was a very patriarchal culture at that time. Give us a little perspective on the respect that you get as a female officer from both the community, but also from within the department.
Yeah. In my experience, females and males receive the same amount of respect, and that's within the department as well. We have an outstanding chief. We have an awesome command staff. We have great and experienced sergeants. They all value each officer, and they care about each officer, whether it be a male or female. They also offer opportunity to both. And like you said, it's not just given. It's if you like a certain assignment or part of law enforcement, then you're afforded the same opportunity. And if you test for it and you test high, then you get it. So it's awesome.
All right. You've worked in a school. Well, you worked the streets. You've worked in a school. I was a school resource officer. I know the reward, but also the grind that can take. You're now a detective. Where do you see your career going? Where do you want to go with your career? Do you want to go into command, into leadership, or do you love being a detective so much that you're good there too?
Yeah. I do love being a detective. I like it the most so far. I want to continue to enjoy my role there and learn and grow. And as I do, I would hope to branch out to be, either a sergeant or some type of supervisory role within the department. I also feel like we have a very supportive community that respects law enforcement, which we're very lucky to have. They understand the importance of having a balance of males and females in those leadership roles. And I think that they want that because they want a department that represents them and that they can relate to. So
Great. One last question for you, Shannon. What would you say to the young women of the community, and not just the community, who might be interested in looking at a career in law enforcement?
I would say go for it. I think it's a great career. I think that it's a career that offers equal opportunity, equal pay for equal work, which is important. It also has a variety of different assignments and positions that you can be successful in. I would say don't be afraid to try them all because you don't know which one you're going to like best.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And, we really are honored to have you here. We're grateful for all the insight that you've brought, and for your service to the community as a law enforcement officer, and certainly as a pioneer and as a woman in a female in law enforcement. So again, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time and everything, and hopefully as everything starts opening back up and getting back to normal, people. As a detective, you're not necessarily out in the community as much as you were on patrol, but hopefully the community goes up. Thank all the men and women in blue that protect us, but certainly thank you to the superhero women that wear that badge every day for us. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Shannon.
for having me.
Thank you, Shannon. Well, now it's time for our crime prevention tip of
That's
the
right.
month.
Bill and Chad's crime prevention tip of the month. And I think it's important to note, not all crime prevention necessarily involves criminal activity, right? Sometimes crime prevention can be something as simple as safety in the community.
That's exactly right. And now with school winding down and it's getting warmer weather, we have more kids out running around, riding their bikes, enjoying the freedom that they didn't have from the COVID days.
Right.
And so we just want you to keep that in mind and make sure that you slow down in the neighborhoods and watch out for kids popping out from behind cars or whatever.
Exactly. That's it. Just be aware. You
Yeah.
know, as you're driving through, you know your neighborhood, you know the community, you know where the parks are, you know where the pools are, you know where kids are going to be gathered. You know, everybody's in a hurry to get somewhere to do, you know, whatever it is. Take a moment, slow down, and just be cognizant of the fact that, you know, there are kids out and about, and yeah, everybody's been kind of cooped up, and people are excited to get out. The weather's turned, you know, it's beautiful outside, and so our crime prevention of the month is be careful when you're out there driving, slow down a little bit, and let's keep the community safe. So,
Absolutely.
well, Bill, it's been a blast
That's another-
getting through episode number 2.
Number 2.
I think, you know, we sort of were joking that there was a minimum requirement for this project of 4. So we're halfway through. We'll see if they keep us much longer, but we're having a blast.
We're
doing
having a
this.
blast, so if they fire us after 2 more, that's,
Well, you know what?
that's just the way it goes.
That's the way it goes, and they'll probably find somebody much better to do this. so-
certainly better looking.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why I wear a hat. So, but we've had a blast, and thank you so much to our special guest today, Detective Shannon Crow. Again, when you see all the men and women of the Erie PD out in public, you know, give them a high five, give them knuckles. Hopefully, everybody gets back to we can even give hugs and give them a hug and tell them how much you appreciate them. With that, stay safe and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.